Awesome. Well, it's so great to see you and welcome to Fargo. It's wonderful to have you here. You are in one of the most entrepreneurial spaces in town, actually founded by a cobber, and a cobber is a graduate of Concordia College, so we're kind of proud of this space and this entrepreneurial work going on. It's been great to work with the Heat Transfer Warehouse folks. As you know, they're awesome people. I've been with them since the beginning of the year, working on some leadership development, developing their entrepreneurial mindset. They've been around for, over a decade, 13 years, I think, but we can never stop being entrepreneurial. So I hope from today's talk, I won't give you maybe as much sort of hands-on skill set like the last talk or some of the sessions I see for tomorrow, but I hope I can give you some sort of high-level thinking about what it means to be an entrepreneur and how to continue to be entrepreneurial and create value in the work that you do. A little bit of my background: I'm an accountant and an attorney, but I'm not here to talk to you about legal skills, although I heard that was a pretty hot topic. You can take business law from me at Concordia College if you want all those skills. Today I'm here to talk to you about entrepreneurship. I was president of a global education company focused on entrepreneurial mindset. We developed curriculum and training, and I did trainings all around the world. It's a wonderful job, but I moved home, which is here in Fargo. Moved back here about 5 years ago and joined the college and developed curriculum there. And now I'm the director of entrepreneurship at Concordia and also assistant professor of law and entrepreneurship. So I get to work with undergraduate students, but I also do a lot of external work with local companies and whatnot. So pretty fun job. So for today, I want you to kind of think of 3 nuggets you get out of any talk. Maybe if you have a piece of paper, you can just 3 ideas that come from what I share with you today. If you can have 3 nuggets, that's pretty good for any one talk. I think for a half hour. And also think about what did you learn today that you can immediately implement. If you take time at the end of the talk to just think about one thing that you can put into action, you're more likely to actually do it. And studies say if you actually write it down or type in your phone, you are much more likely to remember and actually do it. I'm a professor, so I'm going to make sure you have some learning out of this, right? So the world has changed in ways that now require us to think and act like an entrepreneur. In fact, the World Economic Forum has long said that entrepreneurship, education, and training is essential to develop human capital for the society of the future. Not everyone needs to become an entrepreneur to benefit from entrepreneurship education, but every member of society needs to be entrepreneurial. That's kind of my premise for today. So I'm going to talk more about what it means to be entrepreneurial. Our ability to embrace entrepreneurship is often limited by the ways in which we define it. So when you think of an entrepreneur, what are some things that come to mind? And just shout it out. Say it again. Boss. Okay, boss, okay. Your own boss, okay. Yeah. Say it again. Okay. Making your own money.
Exhaustion.
Creativity, exhaustion. Okay. Passion. Freedom. Independence.
Flexibility.
Hard work, long hours. One back here.
Flexibility.
Flexibility. Absolutely. And we now live in this kind of dynamic work environment and changing job types, and work is looking so different, right? And the way that we work, especially the last few years. Sometimes there's some negative connotations to entrepreneurship, especially in academia, outside of the business school, right? The evil, greedy profiteer, someone's always trying to sell me something, right? So some negative connotations sometimes, or what comes to mind might be a high-growth entrepreneur, the Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, right? Not necessarily people we all relate to. Or you might think of sort of the Shark Tank, the Planet pitch, right? How do I get venture capital? How do I put together a formal market plan, financial projections? I have a big idea, right? And then other times, some people might think of sort of Main Street and small business management skills that you need to run a small business, right? And all of those are different types of entrepreneurship, but it's a very limited way of thinking about it. What I learned in my work, we were hired by the Cisco Entrepreneur Institute to study real-world entrepreneurs and their way of thinking and the process that they used. And it was a little bit different than all of those definitions that we were seeing. There was a disconnect between what we understood about entrepreneurship and some preconceived notions and what was actually occurring with real-world everyday entrepreneurs, much like yourselves, right? And through the stories of hundreds of entrepreneurs from all walks of life, kind of became a common framework or logic and way of thinking that I really think anyone can learn from. And as entrepreneurs, we need to keep kind of instilling and encouraging these belief systems that got us to where we are, right? So I think entrepreneurship is much more than traditional business creation. It's business creation is just one avenue. Some entrepreneurs start nonprofits, or they join the gig economy, or they exist within existing companies, right? They're entrepreneurial people who help innovate and grow companies in different ways. But there's a mindset and a framework for thinking and acting that we can all learn from. And when we talk about a mindset, we're really looking at what are our underlying beliefs and assumptions that are going on. We all have a mindset, largely coming from our environments, our upbringing, and whatnot. But we can also change our mindset, we know that, as long as we kind of understand what our underlying beliefs are. So this is what we learned from these real-world entrepreneurs, and these are a bit academic terms, so I'll spell it out in plain English as well. But they tended to have high levels of self-efficacy. They had an internal locus of control. They were intrinsically motivated, they had a growth mindset, and they were very resilient. And at the core of it, they understood that they had a belief system around it was their responsibility to figure out how to align their interests